Hello everyone, welcome you all for this episode of Startup Stories. My name is Guna, I'm a startup coach and the author of the book Startup Recipe. In this episode of Startup Stories, we have a very special person, my good friend Raghavi Sendil Kumar, who's a BTech MBA PhD who worked in corporate industry for 10 plus years and have a rich experience in HR and training. And after that, she started Headway Academy, through which she did a lot of trainings and have completed more than 500 plus training sessions for students, for corporate employees, for entrepreneurs, and for all the other people as well. And also, she started Headway Foundation, through which she is helping 1,000 plus differently able people on various aspects. And she is going to share with us her entrepreneur journey, and we are going to learn a lot from her journey today. So, welcome, Raghavi Sendil Kumar, for this show of Startup Stories.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guna. It's so overwhelming to be here. And yes, Guna has been my good friend for quite some time now. And I'm so happy that I'm part of this startup stories because I've been very much impressed by the work Guna does in terms of giving recipes. He doesn't even restrict himself to give recipes to people, but also he picks recipes from people like us, and then he cooks something with a brain that really needs in terms of transformation and all that, and he brings about a good cookery for the brain and gives it to the people in need. So this is an amazing thing that Guna has been doing. And I'm just playing a small role in this particular aspect of what he's doing. So I'm so overwhelmed to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Mr. Guna.
Thank you for coming to the show. The first question which I want to ask you is: after 10 years of corporate experience, and HR and training is a very good platform where I'm sure you would have had great pay package by the time you came out of it. Leaving that and wanted to start something on your own, and what made you to become an entrepreneur? Why did you start entrepreneurship journey? Why did you start your own business? Can you share few details about that?
Yes, thanks for kindling me that. Frankly speaking, of late we've been traveling all busy kind of life in this professional forum, and it's been kindling when you ask this question for me. Yes, when it's been an accident, yeah. Sure. So I think most of the women, especially, would really agree to this because of late we try to change our profile, change the way we carry our profile towards our goal. So on that note, this entrepreneur bug actually bit me, but I never thought it would bite me because I was like a passionate HR, and that is how I started my career also. Because after completing my engineering, mine was BTech IT. Somewhere I thought this coding is not going to work out for me. I am not into this programming and all these stuffs. And I thought, and my people who know me better also thought I'm good at administration and all that. So somewhere this HR was keeping on disturbing me, kind of. I just wanted to get onto this human resources area, which has been my very great passion. So I did my MBA, and I loved my job, literally. When you love something and you do, you don't mind the time, you don't mind the effort, you don't mind the challenges that you go through and all that, right? So being into HR, there were days when I used to work till 10:30, 11 o'clock also in the night, and I used to come 24 kilometers yeah, back home in the night. So there were days like that, all hectic days and all that, but yet I loved my profession. But somewhere, and again, when it is about HR, it is a hardcore HR, all generalist kind of role, and my flair was into training somewhere. In house, I've been doing a lot of trainings, and I started becoming kind of a known personality, a known trainer in terms of the outside forums also. So that way, training has also been in my forte from the time I've been in the career. So somewhere when I was doing all these stuffs, after my wedding and after my kids and all that, same. I'm also a normal woman who actually had to battle around this biological clock and the career clock. So I had to, take a different career path because I had to take care of my kids. I had both my kids from the cesarean C-section only. So considering health issues and all these stuffs, I had to actually, come out of the career, the job as such. And then my flair was on two things. One, on the training, of course, on the HR consulting work and the training, that I do. So I really did not want to miss it out. And at the same time, I wanted to, do something on the disability area, the inclusion, the diversity and the inclusion in terms of the differently able people. So this was there in my mind for quite some time, and I thought that's the right time to kickstart that also. So parallelly, I also did that, and if I'll have to say, I started my work only on the diversity and inclusion area immediately after my first pregnancy, literally first delivery, literally. So the very first thing that I did is applying for my PhD. And in the PhD, I actually chose a topic which is about the equal opportunity employment for the differently able people. So I thought somewhere, oh my God, I'm not working, I'm not in the corporate, what am I doing, kind of thing. And the very first thing that I did was applying for PhD because I wanted to do something. And that's where my work towards the diversity and inclusion actually started. And slowly I also kick-started with my academy work, where my target audience literally are um, college students, where I give anything under the management, anything under the human resources, through the modalities of seminars, conferences, workshops, training programs, anything on that capacity building kind of a thing for the corporate and the college, I do. At the same time, I started my social organization, as I told you, because I was working towards the employment of differently able people, because me being an HR, I was actually supporting many people with employment, many differently able people with employment. That was the actually, kind of start. Okay, chalo, I've been able to place a lot of people, uh, especially on the hearing and speech impaired people, the students. I brought up a lot of companies in terms of placing them and all that. So fine, something is working on that area. So I thought I am the person who will have to do something, and I immediately kickstarted, bringing about establishing an organization called Headway Foundation, and these are the two organizations that I currently run.
Superb. Already it looks like a roller coaster now from what you just shared. I have a lot of my students who came out from corporate background and who want to start a business, who are still working and they want to start. And I also have a lot of business friends who came out of
Uh-huh.
corporate background and started and doing business. They always share a lot of challenges which they had when they switched over from corporate to this entrepreneurship world. And generally in this itself, there are a lot of challenges. And you being differently abled warrior and mom of two kids, and I'm sure the challenges are even more higher for you when you switched over from this corporate to entrepreneurship, and you're in the entrepreneurship world for the last many years. So what are the different challenges you had when you got into this entrepreneurship and you started a few things on your own, like Edway Academy, Edway Foundation, and few other training things you started? So what are the different challenges? Can you share about that?
Definitely, definitely. For a person like me who really don't know the ABCD of the business, because I think many of the people would agree with me. The very first
Okay,
thing that they say is
this one line is going to inspire a lot of people, because always I get this query that I don't know much about business. I know very little. I know 20-30%. Can I start a business? Is the question people ask. I
correct,
always tell them, even if you don't know anything, you can start. And now I have
correct.
one more example in the startup story through. Yes, please go ahead. Yes.
Correct. This has been. I've also heard a lot of people telling that, because I myself, even this moment, even after so many years, I keep questioning myself. Inside my soul, am I really an entrepreneur now? Because we say "Let's suttu potalum varadhu," something like that. I was not even in that arena of starting a business. I didn't even have the thought of doing it, because I don't know what business is at that point in time. Though I did my business administration. To me, business is all about the organization, the corporate, and for me, my asset are the resources, the human resources. So that is where I connect a lot. But then, yes, if even if I don't even say it is 20-30%. I was literally zero when I started, because I don't even know what is it coming up, what am I going to do. But all that I had is the idea. That idea was, we say, no, idea is the king and all that. So that idea was the only thing that I carried as a, passion, because two ideas I had. One is I'll have to do something for the differently abled sector, and I'll have to, I had a lot of challenges in my, journey, my life journey, my career journey, and all that. So I will have to, kind of, one, break the stereotype that pertains to the disability sector, and kind of, change the game in terms of the way people see at disability. So that was one idea. And number two was about the training. So somewhere, as I told you, I was very passionate about the HR and stuff and all that. I really did not want to leave it. I wanted to be in touch with my training and my HR work. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I want to do, something on the HR. So these were the two ideas that actually were there in my mind. And frankly, uh, all the stuffs, in terms of running a business, were all in the books that I read, whether it is the Stephen Robbins or the Dicenzo Robbins, or all the theory that I read was only there in my mind. I never had any practical experience of starting a business as such and all that. Necessity is the mother of invention. We all know that. That necessity was what the triggering factor, the driving factor for me, I would say. Okay, chalo, this is working out. Let me do this. This is not working out. Okay, remove it off. Let's go by this way. So every now and then I started learning. You learn, you unlearn, you relearn, you keep doing it. And as a roller coaster ride, you keep on doing it. And only when you do all these three things, you will be able to, kind of overcome these challenges. So I did it continuously till now. I'm doing, and I will be doing, because of late it's all about learning and unlearning and relearning. So this is what will, help you navigate all the challenges, right? So I did it. When it is about my social organization, getting that, trust factor amongst differently abled people was something that actually, made me out of the world. There were parents who literally fell on my feet and say, "Ma, thank you, it is because of this, because of your work, my kid is like this, my son has got that," and all these things literally moved my, way of thinking what business is. That is what I would say. I learned business from people. So
Super.
that is one. Number two, when it comes to training and the human resources area, yes, it is, I mean, social organization is far different than what we talk about HR and training. This market has been very competitive, and every person, you believe me, every woman HR at one point in time want to become a trainer.
Mm.
And especially after kids and all that, she who has a flair for training will want to become a trainer, and there are a humongous amount of trainers in today's world. So the competition is like amazing in this area. So breaking all these ceilings were a little difficult, because every nook and corner has a HR consultancy and training academy, and whatever consulting that you do in terms of human resources, there has been a lot of organizations. So breaking all these barriers were, I should agree, were literally a difficult part for me. But still, one thing that has been very challenging for me is to again build the trust among the institutions and the organizations. And of late, that has changed at one point in time, where this madam will do good session. So that, that wow factor that created, for people from me, was something that I converted, from a person who has been in a zero knowledge on business, and converting that to, a wow factor has been a very challenging journey, I would say.
Superb, superb. So inspiring that initially when you were struggling to create the trust among institutions and companies, and later they already felt that credibility. Okay, this is the right person whom we should hire for our training sessions, and that itself is a great challenges over you overcome through that. And I'm sure in this entrepreneur journey, you would have done a lot of mistakes and you learned from it, and then you would of course corrected it. But if you have to tell one mistake which you did, which others should avoid when they have to start their business from scratch, what would that be? In any business for that matter, not only HR, not only training, any business, if you have to mention this one mistake, all startups can take it seriously, and if you can avoid, it will be better. And if you can share from your experience, it will be very useful.
Definitely, there are a lot of mistakes leads to challenges. So we all do mistakes in life. We all do mistakes in career. We all do mistakes in the way the a work is being done. And same way, entrepreneurship also, it's a journey. It's not something like you get it on a day where the Rome was built. It is not like that. So it's a journey, and in the journey you do a lot of mistakes. You learn. But one thing that I observed, because I basically am a person who is kind of a perfectionist, at least me, a perfectionist, because I want to do things on this way. This, if this has to be done this way, that has to be done that way only. No flexibility kind of a thing, that I generally agree, because both of my career profiles were contradictory. On one note, it was HR kind of a thing, where human resources, management, administration was an area where you try to be very 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 neat, no procrastinating, everything has to be on par and all that kind of a profile. Then converting myself into an entrepreneurship, where this is a very loose field.
Yeah.
You need to kind of be flexible at times. You need to kind of be accommodative at times. You go on a roller coaster ride. That itself was like, agreeing myself to it itself was a very challenging factor for me. Then one thing that I understood after calling myself as an entrepreneur is, I learned a lot of things that can be, chalo, okay, that's okay kind of a thing. It is okay to do like this, it's okay to do like that. It is not against the ethos that I'm talking. It's not about against the moral values that I'm talking. I'm not talking that at all here. I am talking about the flexibility. You will have to be flexible. You will have to be accommodative. Even if you don't like that person, you will have to carry all the smiles and say, hi, how are you? Because it is not about acting. Because I used to think, perceive that way. You're not, come on, how can you smile at a person who you don't like? It is against your moral value, it is against your principle and all that. So that a person with that kind of a mentality, converting myself to a person where even if you don't like that person, or something is not working out with that person, or he is kind of the so-called enemy in the warfield kind of a person, still you learn at smiling with at the person. So the smile, the love, the patience that you all carry in your journey will do a lot of magic in your entrepreneurship. And I bet on it. I bet on it.
So,
Because this I have been learning in my career journey.
so I think that's a very powerful message, and it doesn't matter who's on the other side. You be like this, and that's a great message. And now, the women like you, achieved on great heights in entrepreneurship, are always great inspiration for all the aspiring women entrepreneurs. But still, there are a lot of women who want to start something, but still they hesitate for various reasons, and they want to become an entrepreneur, they want to start a salon, they want to start a restaurant, they want to start something, they have that idea running in their mind, but most of the times they're not taking the next step. So what do you think, what is stopping them, and why they're not coming out and taking an initiative on their own business? What do you think?
A lot of things for a woman. It is not about me talking about men or women kind of a thing, but yes, it is. There are a lot of things for a woman when it comes to handling all the things, especially for me or my mother, who have been, my mother has been a 20 plus years, 25 plus years, Hindi teacher in a school. The way she has been balancing home, because she has a special daughter, so handling me, my family, her career itself was a kind of an inspiration journey for me to actually experience it literally. So no matter which area you are in, which domain you are in, challenges are there in terms of women balancing all these stuffs. I think men will also agree to me, those who are watching here. But
Absolutely.
yes, when it comes to women, um, do not easily quit on the job. That also I would love to say. Chalo, this boss is not working out, this organization is not working out, let me start. If I start kind of my own business, I'll be able to able to earn this much and all that. These are kind of magical words that your brain keeps on shooting out, but don't believe that also. Yeah. But if you have a flair, if you have a deep flair for entrepreneurship, please go for it. Nothing is going to stop. Yes, there are a lot of challenges that will actually stop us. The first thing that comes in front of you is the family, the kids, basically. Yeah. Whenever there is a dip in the marks of a kid, of a children, the
Stress.
very first question any family member raises, or your soul itself raises, is, did I do the job rightly? Or didn't I look at my kids properly? Or
Correct.
am I too inclined towards my business, and am I, kind of leaving my kids and all that? Your soul asks. I don't know how many of the women agree to it, but it's been there for me. Even before somebody questions me, I question myself. Then I'll try to, balance all these things, because, as a career oriented person, the career of not only yourself, but also the career of your kids is your responsibility.
Right.
So it pinches. So that challenge is there. Balancing the family. Sometimes men are not that open enough to, allow women, to become entrepreneurs and financially independent and all that. Sometimes, the family doesn't support. All these challenges will be there. The fear, the mental blocks that people will have, the procrastination because of all these. I am not having a viable atmosphere. How will I start this business? But still, I have the idea. But still, I want to do it. So this mental blocks, and that viability will not come unless and until you step out. That viability will not even come. Nobody will come and push you out of the door and say, go do business. Nobody will say. Even your soul will not tell that. It is you who will have to decide. It is you who will have to face all the challenges. Obviously you'll have a lot of struggles and challenges. You will have to kind of truncate whatever is required, and you will have to keep moving on. And for that matter, it is only you. As I always say, inclusion starts from I. It is also about independence starts from I. So it is you who will have to do it.
Super. Thank you. Thank you for that. I think those who are in the borderline thinking, this will definitely push them to start something on their own. I'm sure about that. And I know that you are doing a lot of social activities under the name of Edway Foundation. I'm also happy that I'm a part of few initiatives which you've taken, and I know that the amount of work you do throughout the year. I'm just sometimes thinking like how to organize so many events, so many things for a social cause in the name of Edway Foundation. Now, if somebody want to be a part of it, to contribute in a way, in some way, if they want to help, how do they contact you? How can they reach out to you? Can you just share a little bit of that information, please?
Yes, thanks for asking this actually, because as I told you, this diversity and inclusion has been my, again, another, close to heart kind of work that I do. We work towards the empowerment of differently abled people. No matter what disability, we try to bring about the confidence in each of them. And so far, as you mentioned, it's about more than 1,000 people who've been benefited. And there are a lot of things that, actually pushed me towards working in the diversity and inclusion area. And as I told you, whether it is from people getting settled in a job, or getting some educational support, or bringing about their talent in terms of art or sport or anything of that matter, bringing about their talent, supporting them on their livelihood. All these areas we've been doing. And if I'll have to quote one thing, in the recent COVID lockdown times, there were times where we actually supported with groceries, for more than 500 differently able people. There were audio messages where people, sent us, Madam, it is because of you that we ate chapati after a long, long time. So that were like, very, kind of very heartwarming and all that. It is just a pack of atta, okay?
Correct.
But that, people are there without eating that atta also. So on all the areas we've been supporting. It is not about one area. That is what I wanted to mention. Whether it is about education, employment, livelihood support, upbringing their talents, anything of that matter. We are trying to build about the confidence of differently abled person. So I really would proudly say that Guna has been a very good supporter for Headway Foundation, and the work that I do. I used to share with him, and so happy that people like Guna are there to support us, and only because of them we are able to drive our vision towards inclusion. So on that note, we also are trying to bring about a lot. We don't want to do it separately. We want to join hands with people. We bring them all there in the events. We want to we invite, literally invite. We want people to see what is on the other side, on the people who are actually with the disability. So we want them to see. So we want to join hands with people. So we will also give our website's link, so that people can see our work. The social media handles also, we will send the link, so people can actually contribute to us for the empowerment and upliftment of differently able people's welfare. And also people can become a part of, become a supporter, become a member of our organization. So anything of that matter, we really welcome people.
Thank you. Thank you. And I request you to post the link in the comments of this video so that people can access to the
Yes.
link and they can definitely get in touch with you. And what I did is a very, very, very small thing in what you are actually doing. And there are many more people out there to support in that small way so that collectively we can create a good, massive impact in the society. And coming to the last question, what will be your message or your tip or your suggestion for somebody who's going to start a business or who's thinking of starting a business right now? What will be your tip from your experience, the way you observe entrepreneurship now after COVID? Businesses are not same. Considering all this, what will be your tip or suggestion for people who are starting a new business right now?
Yes. So as I told you, Guna never fails to get recipes from people also. I actually love the word startup recipe. So on that note, my recipe, for budding entrepreneurs, people who are struck, or of course people who are doing well also, I would say, fix your niche. So if you see my work, of course I do anything on the training part, anything under the HR, anything under the management. I give training, to people. I also provide mentorship. I also provide coaching. I also, give a lot of guideships to, corporate people in terms of, the diploma program that people do as part of Indian Society for Training and Development. I do a lot of things. Also, I fixed a niche on this, POSH, prevention of sexual harassment. It's a law, and there are a lot of awareness that had to be built, and a lot of trainings, awareness campaigns, and the kind of providing some mentoring on that area. It's been there as from the government of India itself. So nobody knew that actually. Now corporates are kind of building that committee, the internal committee for prevention of sexual harassment. No matter what organization you run, more than 10 employees, if you have, you will have to have a proper internal committee set for your prevention of sexual harassment domain. So I am an expert in that. I am also a consultant. I'm a trainer. I serve as an external member in the internal committee also for various institutions and organizations. So this is one thing that I wanted to mention. I'm also a certified boxer trainer. So it is not just that about the sexual harassment for adults, but also for the children safety also. So I do this also. So likewise, let's stick on to a niche, because people want change, people want creativity, people want something different. Even when we go to a restaurant, we try to bring, that day I ate this biryani, let us not go for this biryani, let us eat something else. So that change even you want for yourself. Same way the corporates and the institutions want something different kind of a thing. So set on a niche, and for that niche, you will have to break out a lot of myths around that niche, and then you will have to make people kind of agree, people impress about the work that you do, and then your journey actually starts. And you will have this graph going on here and there. Never mind, it all happens in every domain, every arena. So never mind about it. But fix on a goal, fix on a niche area, and keep moving is my tip that
Thank you.
I would say.
Thank you for sharing the tip. In 2017, I created a vision for myself that I will create 10,000 entrepreneurs by 2030. And thank you for being a part of my vision by coming over for this show of startup stories and giving so many tips, insights from your lifetime experience. Because even if I teach certain aspects, that is going to create an impact. But people like you who actually experienced it over your journey and coming here and sharing transparently on what challenges, what mistakes you did, and this is how I started, this is how I faced the challenge, etc. That actually adds a lot of value. So thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for coming over to this show of Startup Stories. And those who are watching, thank you for watching this episode of Startup Stories. Please do share this video to all the aspiring entrepreneurs around you and inspire them so that they can also learn about it and they can become entrepreneurs. So thank you for watching. So thank you everyone. Thank you Raghavi for joining here. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you for watching, to all the audience out there. Together, let's build an inclusive India. Thank you so much.
Thank you.